Hello and welcome to Economics. I'm Mr. Sanabria, and if you're watching this for some reason or another, I'm not here on what must be the first day of school or perhaps the first day of the semester. So I'm taking this opportunity now to experiment with this new toy, Screencast-O-Matic, which allows me to talk to you while I present something on my computer screen. So what I plan to do with this is to, for every PowerPoint or in this case Prezi lecture that I have, I'd like to go through the slides talking to you so that if you're absent or if I have a sub, you're able to actually benefit from my awesome wisdom and insights and instructional acumen as you go through the slides. So the design of this entire thing is for you to be able to independently view a presentation, take notes, pausing if you need to, but beyond just writing what's on the screen or the PowerPoint slide, whatever it may be, you actually are able to write notes over the things that I'm saying. So I can clarify topics and do a more complete job of explaining concepts, because the slides themselves don't have all of the information on them, nor are they designed that way. They're really just a very rough outline of the things that I plan to talk about in class. So this should be a pretty good tool. Let's go ahead and get started. Today is really just going to be me going over the syllabus with you, and then there's actually a few topics after we talk about the syllabus which you will need to start taking notes on. So it won't be a lot of notes, but do prepare yourself to start taking notes, and that this may be a great time to pause and get your notes ready. Okay, we're back from the pause. So this is going to be your welcome to AP Macroeconomics, and I am Mr. Sanabria, so this is why you have welcome to AP Macro with Mr. Sanabria. So now it's time to just go over the syllabus. So you should have the syllabus out and going over the syllabus with me. So let's go ahead and take a look here. First thing up here at the top, pretty self-explanatory, but let's move me up here. Something that you do want to take note of here is my email address, because that is the best way to get a hold of me, and also my website, which is classjump.com/s/Sanabria. The thing is, I am really planning to use the website a lot. The website is completely integrated into my course. All of your assigned readings can be found on the website. We'll talk about the books here in a couple of minutes. But most of the homework is found on the website, not all. There's links to other sites which are good. There are links to videos that I highly recommend that everybody watch. Even though they are optional. The videos that I choose for a reason. I choose them because for some reason or another, I think that whoever created that video does a great job explaining the concept. It's meant to reinforce what we talk about in class, and in an effort to help everybody stay on track with this course, which moves very quickly. If you are absent, you are able to go to my website, basically just consume everything on it, and it's as if you were in class. So with the help of these videos that I'm making now, which I'll go through the slides with you, and you can take your notes as if you were there, as well as the supplementary videos, the website is not really an optional resource. It is something you need to plan on using as you work through this course. Office hours, Wednesday, 7:30 to 8:30 a.m. or by appointment. Basically, I put that because I do need, as a requirement, to have an official office hours. However, I am here every morning by around 7:45, if not 7:30. come talk to me every morning, any morning, whenever you want. The other thing is I'm here during lunch, and I don't mind you coming by during lunch, and I'm also very fine with you coming and seeing me during my off periods. So I don't just close my door and want you to leave me alone. I do think that to be very successful in this course, you probably will need to come see me certain times to have me clear things up, and that's perfectly fine. Also, come see me if you're having any sort of an issue outside of class that's preventing you from getting your work in on time or anything like that. Please come see me. I can basically work something out with you no matter what kind of issue you've got going on. But if you don't ever come see me, then I don't know you have an issue and we don't work through anything, so that's no good. All right, let's talk about sources real quick. The textbook is right here in front of you, but the bottom line is that there's not enough for everybody. So, like I've already mentioned, all the readings are online. So I suggest for everybody to just use the online reading as your textbook. If you are somebody who does not feel comfortable with the idea of reading all of the material online, or you have internet connectivity issues that you may not be as consistent, I do have some books that I can loan out. So that's going to be on a first come, first served basis, simply because they're scarce. So that's the bottom line on that. Please do the readings. I choose them not to waste your time, but because I think that that's reading whatever I assign is going to enrich whatever we talked about and help you fully understand it. So now we're just going to talk about the course real quick in this paragraph. I'm not going to read it out to you. It basically just describes the fact that we're going to learn macroeconomics. It's an AP course. Is the course difficult? Probably it would be considered a difficult course. It's going to start off not very difficult, and I don't think that any of the individual concepts we learn are very difficult. So in that regard, I actually don't think it's that hard of a class. The concepts aren't tough. The thing that is difficult about this class is that you can't forget anything. It's an extremely cumulative topic. You're not able to forget one concept, but it's okay because you know everything else. It all stacks on top of itself. Everything that we learn for the purpose of using it later in the course. So it actually will start off relatively straightforward, and then as we learn more and more concepts, the difficult part is juggling all of that knowledge, and then by the end of the course, you are applying everything we learned, basically in the first two-thirds of the course, to do economics. And it gets difficult because you simply have to consider everything we've learned. So stay with the course. Don't fall behind, because that's when it becomes difficult to catch up. Once again, one of the reasons why I'm going through all these efforts to allow a situation where if you have to miss school, because I know many of you are super busy and you have all these awesome extracurricular activities, if you do have to miss school, you can go to the website and it's as if you never missed anything. So please keep in mind that you're going to need to keep up with all of this, and that it's cumulative. So let's go ahead and move on. We don't really need to talk too much about the AP exam. I assume that most of you probably have already taken one. So the AP macro exam is something that we'll talk specifically about a lot. My goal here is to not only teach you macroeconomics and give you a different way of thinking, but also to prepare you to do well on the AP exam. So that is a focus, and I owe that to you to prepare you to do well on the AP exam and have you go into taking the AP exam as confidently as you can. So all you really need to do as far as bringing material is bring something to take notes with, because we're going to take notes every day in some way, shape, or form. And also we're going to start a foldable big chart of all the graphs that we're going to need to learn. Please bring that every day, because you never know what day it's going to be that we add something to those charts. So it'll just work out better if you wing it. Restroom. Please try not to have to go in class. If you do, I'm just going to ask you to put your phone on the table and take the pass. That way you are not tempted to go out in the hall and play Angry Birds or anything like that. So, grading. This is the part that everybody really cares about, right? We basically have a quiz every day. Class begins with a quiz. It's my way of getting you to review what we learned last time so we can launch right into what we did or what we're doing that day. And also, it's feedback for you on what you're learning and what you're not. And if you don't do well on a quiz, you know you do need to study that thing. The other thing about the quizzes is that we go over each quiz immediately after we take it. So it's another chance to learn the information. So we actually spend about the first third of every class in the process of quick review, questions about last time, take the quiz, go over the quiz, and now we've spent a good half an hour really going back and doing a deep review of what we already learned, getting back up to speed from what we hopefully learned last time, and then we're ready to go right into the next topic. So that's the way that it works, and the quizzes are half of your grade. The other half of your grade are the major grades, which comes in the form of a multiple choice test with FRQ at the end of each unit. And the multiple choice section is graded separately than the FRQ. So those end up being two different major grades. Now, test corrections are encouraged for everybody, every multiple choice test. So for the unit test, you should do test corrections. You should plan on doing test corrections because I design my tests to be difficult, and I design them for you to come and do test corrections. The reason for that is that I need you to learn from your test. I don't just do the test so that you get a grade. Of course, it has a lot to do with it. You have to get a grade. But I see it as an opportunity to really pinpoint those things that you don't understand as well as you thought you did by making you come back here and correct the test. Any question you got wrong, I want you to take a look at. I want you to use your notes, the internet, ask me, figure out why you missed it, and write down the right answer for me. And I'll give you half your points back. So in theory, if you came in and didn't get a single question right on the test, you could end up with the 50 because you come into your test corrections. Now, most of you will not come in and get a 0 on the test. Most of you will probably get, my class average for the first go-arounds on tests is usually around a 70. So when you consider that you're going to come in and do test corrections, that ends up making the class average around 85, which is actually pretty good. Last note on grades, I'm going to take care of you. Okay, I'm going to take care of you with grades. I'm not your enemy as far as grades go. I know that this is a difficult course, and I need you concentrating on learning the material, and I don't need you stressing out about getting a good grade. So yes, grades are important. Yes, it's somewhat difficult to get an A in this class, and you do have to consider your performance on the quizzes and make sure you're studying, and your performance on the test is important. However, the thing that you should be concentrating on is learning the material so that you can do well on the AP exam and get your college credit. Grade-wise, you stay with me. You come see me if you have questions. You do your corrections. I'm going to take care of you, and this isn't going to be something that that should stress you out as far as the grade. Now, kind of to review. You have homework and reading assignments for most class periods, okay? It's an AP course. I've got to send you home with something to read or something to do, and I try to choose things that are useful. All assignments, quizzes, and exams are cumulative. Just expect to be asked about anything we've learned. It's just the nature of economics. Almost every day starts with a quiz, and some of the quizzes are from AP tests that I've kind of cut and pasted. So that gives you a good test on how you're doing. So I'm going to go ahead and stop here, and we're going to continue with the next part where I teach you a little bit. Hey, so we are back. We've already gone through the syllabus now, and what we're going to do is actually take just a few notes, a couple of little things that I think are probably important to do on the first day here to introduce the course itself. So let's go ahead and jump right into that. What we want to start with is, well, really not clicking through all of this, but hey, why not? There we are. This is our first kind of question we want to ask ourselves. What is economics and why are we studying it? Well, what economics is really the study of human decision making. That's what economics is. It's a social studies class, not a math class, right? Why is it a social studies class? Well, because ultimately what we're doing is looking at incentives. So why are people making the decisions that they make? What is it about whatever decision that incentivizes somebody to actually make that choice? Now, with that being said, what is not economics? Economics is not the study of money. That's just simply not the case. We can have an economic conversation about why you might choose to walk to your next class rather than run, even if you're all the way across the school and you are probably going to be late unless you run. Well, why wouldn't you run? Well, you might not want to look like an idiot. That's probably a big motivator. So that had nothing to do with money, but we're looking at the incentive. Why wouldn't somebody run through the hallways, backpack open, papers flapping all over the place just to get to class on time? Well, you probably are going to pay a social cost for looking foolish, right? And the thing is, you have weighed the possibility of getting to class on time and whatever the consequence would be of not getting to class on time with the possibility of looking foolish and what the consequences would be of looking foolish. And in the case of somebody who decides not to run, well, you decided that the cost outweighed the benefit of running through the halls. So this entire talk that we just had here had everything to do with economics and nothing to do with money. So I need you to understand that right out of the gate. Okay, so we've decided economics is not studying money. It is not about dollars and cents. It's about human decision making. And now what I'm going to tell you is when we talk about human decision making, it often goes to money very quickly. So in this course, we are in fact going to talk a lot about money. Why? Well, because money, among other things, is a thing that we use to assign value. And so if we're sitting here thinking about people's decision making, oftentimes it comes down to what we consider to be valuable and what we don't consider to be valuable. And if we consider something to be valuable or more valuable than something else, then the way that we know the universal mechanism for assigning value is in fact money. And so yes, most conversations we have will be about money. But no, economics is not the study of money. It is the study of human decision making. And I want everybody to really internalize that straight from the beginning. The other thing I would say, kind of before moving on from this topic, is that along with learning macroeconomics, which we'll kind of really drill into what macroeconomics is next time, but along with learning macroeconomics, I want you to use this opportunity of learning economics to maybe reapproach the way that you make decisions in general by maybe using more of what an economist would like to see, which is like a cost-benefit analysis on the decisions you make. If you are disciplined and capable of weighing the costs and benefits, which is basically pros and cons, right? Doing that kind of analysis going into decisions, you may be surprised that some of the decisions you make may be different than what you would have expected had you not gone through a deliberate thinking of what am I giving up to do something? What am I going to get in return for doing that thing? Is that return greater than whatever I gave up? is the benefit going to outweigh the cost? And it sounds very simple. However, unless you do this, or at least train yourself initially to do this deliberately, you may miss out on making better decisions in life. And so I'm really trying to set you up for success in two ways: on the AP exam, and actually in just making general decisions. Next thing we want to talk about is this concept: normative versus positive economics. So you can classify things and split things up in a million different ways, and economics itself ends up being split into microeconomics and macroeconomics. This is just another way of splitting up not so much economics, but the way we talk about economics. So you do need to know this vocabulary. This is considered academic vocabulary, and you'll be tested on this at some point, definitely. So normative economics is speaking about economics in an opinionated way. We'll call it that. So let's say that we understand supply and demand, and we realize that if the demand for something increases, then the models, right, economic theory tells us that the price will go up. Okay, so I haven't really said an opinion there at all, have I? I have simply stated what economic theory tells us. If I said because demand increases, prices go up, the government should then set a law that says that we are going to limit how much the price can go up. Now I've said an opinion. I've said what the government should do. Well, demand is increasing, the price is going up, so the government should step in and keep the price low enough so that people can afford it, or whatever reason. Well, that's an opinion. So we want to be careful to try and at least make sure we understand economic theory in a non-opinionated way, and then using that, absolutely form your own opinions. Now, you may have already guessed that positive economics is what I did the first time. It's talking about an economic concept using what I can't really say facts because economics is a theory at large. So really speaking what the economic theory would state. So just saying, hey, if demand increases, price is going to go up. That's an objective statement. Okay, so you can think of normative versus positive as positive being an objective statement and normative being a subjective statement, if that helps you. So this course is your introduction to economics and primarily focused on macroeconomics, and it is a survey course where we're going to really learn the economic theories that drive current Western economic thought. And in that vein, with that being our purpose, 99% of the things I say are going to be positive economics. I'm not really very interested in giving my opinion on what we should be doing as a nation economically. And that would be normative. Now, in the cases where I do, I will just preface it by saying, listen, I'm going to speak normatively. And then I might give my opinion about what's going on in the current economy, or what somebody historically should have done that they didn't, or something like that. But I'll let you know that, hey, listen, this is Mr. Sanabria talking. This is normative economics. Your instruction is going to be positive economics. I don't have any agenda. I don't think that would be fair of me. And if you didn't know already, trust me, economics can get extremely politically charged. After all, what are we studying? Well, we're studying people's incentives. We've already talked about how people's incentives and motivations often come down to some sort of a money-based topic, and we probably understand that, kind of to use a cliche, money is power, and ultimately what is politics? Well, politics is the study of power, right? Who has what and how much do they have? So it is very easy to get wrapped up in the politics behind certain economic theory. We're just not going to do that in this class. right? I'm going to teach you the models. I'm going to teach you the theory. And I encourage you to form your own opinions. And if you want to talk with me about those on the side, I'd love to have that conversation too. So normative versus positive, understand it. Also understand that we're going to spend our time in positive economic territory. Finally, this is what most people in the world of teaching economics would consider to be everyone's first economic lesson. So hey, why not? I'm going to go ahead and give this lesson to you as your first lesson. And it's an acronym. TINSTAFL is how you might pronounce that, but all it stands for is there is no such thing as a free lunch, which you can see right here underneath it. Now, what this means is that it's as straightforward as it sounds. There isn't anything that's free. That's what this means. And it's probably not blowing your mind right now. But the reason this is important to actually sit here and have a conversation about and to think about consciously is that you need to understand that this is actually true. There is not anything that's free. At the very least, everything took time. At the very least. Most things take a number of resources. If you can't come to accept that, oh wow, class is going to begin shortly, so I need to wrap this up. If you can't come to expect or accept that nothing is actually free, then you're not going to be able to study the decisions of why to do this versus that. Okay, so even if you feel like something is free, it came from somewhere. Someone took time, someone took resources, and even if you don't have to pay for it, it wasn't free. I'll see you next time.